as futuristic or cool. They marketed it as practical, a security solution. In a nation where precision and order are cultural values, that message resonated. One technology firm director in Munich put it bluntly: cards get lost and passwords get forgotten. Implants don't. He's right. An employee can't forget their chip at home, can't lend it to a colleague, can't lose it in the parking lot. It's always there, always working, always tracking. And that's the part they don't emphasize, because these workplace chips do more than unlock doors. They log when you arrive, when you leave, which areas you access, how long you spend there. Some systems even track productivity metrics tied to the chip ID. Your employer knows exactly where you are. Every moment you're on company property. German workers in tech sectors, engineering firms, and biotech companies accepted this without much protest. They saw it as part of working in a modern, secure environment, the kind of workplace that values safety and accountability. But not everyone was comfortable with the implications. Miriam Vogel, a digital policy analyst and president of the organization Future Impulse, issued a warning that most ignored. When work identity becomes intertwined with the human body, the boundary between person and company begins to disappear.
You've probably heard of the Internet of Things, IoT, where everyday objects like fridges, cars, and even light bulbs are connected to the internet. But what happens when the connection goes beyond objects and involves the human body itself? Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is a network of human bodies whose integrity and functionality rely at least in part on the internet and related technologies, such as artificial intelligence. Sounds advanced, right? But it's very likely that you're already a part of this network. The Internet of Bodies can be divided into 3 generations based on how integrated the devices are with the human body. The first generation involves external devices like smartwatches and fitness rings, which collect health data from the surface. These devices are common and non-invasive, making them an easy entry point into the IOB world. The second generation is more advanced, involving internal devices that are either implanted or ingested. These include pacemakers, smart prosthetics, and digital pills that transmit medical data from inside the body. The third generation goes even further, merging entirely with the human body while maintaining a real-time connection to external machines and the internet, representing the ultimate fusion of technology and biology. One of the most well-known real-life examples of the Internet of Bodies is Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain-computer interface company. Neuralink's device, known as the Link, is a coin-sized chip implanted under the skull that can interpret brain signals, allowing users to control external devices with their thoughts. In one notable case, a paralyzed patient used the Link to play chess on his laptop, although there were some technical issues reported post-procedure. Another pioneering company in this space is Synchron, an Australian neurotech firm. Synchron became the first to receive FDA approval for human trials of its BCI technology. Their system has enabled paralyzed patients to send emails and text messages just by thinking. The Internet of Bodies, IOB, presents major risks, especially regarding data protection. These devices can track and store sensitive personal information, which could be exploited by governments or companies for surveillance or profit. Cyber attacks poses a significant safety risk, as seen in 2007, when former US Vice President Dick Cheney disabled his heart implant's wireless feature to avoid hacking attempts. IOB, also raises ethical concerns, such as widening inequality if only the wealthy have access to enhancements. Moreover, the lack of regulatory oversight for consumer-grade devices adds another layer of complexity, leaving questions of autonomy and accountability unresolved. As we've seen, the Internet of Bodies has enormous potential to revolutionize healthcare and expand human capabilities, but it also brings complex challenges. With countries like Chile leading the way in neuroprotection laws, it's clear that safeguarding mental privacy and autonomy will become increasingly crucial.
And difficult to counterfeit. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. Efficient government is good government, right? But listen to what's actually happening here. Government databases, the most comprehensive collections of citizen information that exist, are now being linked to devices inside human bodies. Your identity, your permissions, your access rights, all connected to a chip under your skin. Claire Mias, a digital policy researcher at the Center for European Studies, saw the danger immediately. She warned, when the state begins to integrate identity and implants, it opens the door to a model where the citizen's existence depends on a device he does not control. Read that again slowly. Your existence depends on a device you don't control. Because here's the reality. You don't program the chip. You don't decide what information it contains. You don't determine who can read it or when. The state does. If the government decides your access should be revoked, it happens instantly. If they decide your permissions need to change, you have no say. The chip in your hand obeys the system, not you. Belgium's experiment remained small scale. They didn't roll it out nationwide, didn't mandate it for all government workers, but they established something far more important than numbers. They established precedent. They proved that a modern democratic government can integrate citizen bodies into state infrastructure, that it's technically possible, legally allowable, administratively practical. And in government, precedent is everything. What starts as a pilot program can become standard procedure. What's optional today can become required tomorrow. Not through dramatic announcements or new laws, just through slow, quiet policy changes that most people never notice until it's already normal. Now step back and look at what these three nations accomplished together. Sweden normalized it socially. Germany normalized it economically. Belgium normalized it governmentally. 3 different entry points, 3 different justifications, 1 same technology, and none of them are stopping.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. From Revelation 16:13.
Whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Hello there, Tisad. Well, according to the sources I found, GMS, Great Millstone, which is a Hebrew Israelite group, tends to interpret the mark of the beast and the number 666 in a largely literal and prophetic sense. They often emphasize that the mark is tied to future events, specifically referencing the book of Revelation, Revelation 13, 16, 18, where the mark is something imposed by a malevolent global power, often associated with the Antichrist during the end times. GMS might lean more towards seeing the mark as a literal physical or technological mark, such as a chip or an implant that would be required to buy or sell goods. They emphasize that this is a warning against aligning oneself with worldly systems that oppose God. It's a very literal and eschatological interpretation that ties current or future technology to this biblical prophecy. What are your thoughts on that perspective?